General Hospital will reveal. After being discharged from the hospital, Carly made her way to Brennan's office, burdened by a storm of conflicted emotions. Her visit wasn't just about tying up loose ends or checking in, it was driven by a need for clarity, a desperate attempt to understand the twisted web forming between herself and Brennan. Despite the attraction, the mystery, and the growing tension, Carly couldn't ignore the weight of the warning that had been echoing in her mind, Jason's cold, steely threat aimed squarely at Brennan. With a composed voice but eyes that betrayed her unease, Carly laid it out. She told Brennan exactly what Jason had said, that if anything were to happen to her, if she were to be hurt or worse, Jason wouldn't hesitate to retaliate. The message was unmistakable. Jason, a man forged in shadows and loyal to the core, had drawn a line in the sand. What Carly didn't see, however, was that her confession, meant as a caution, might instead serve as the spark that ignited something far more dangerous. In revealing Jason's threats, she may have unintentionally placed her closest friend in the crosshairs of a man who could make enemies disappear without a trace. Brennan, ever the picture of charm and refinement, exuded calm. But behind that polished exterior was a mind like a blade, sharp, calculated, and capable of acts so cold and detached, few truly knew what he was capable of. Brennan did not take kindly to threats. Especially not from a man like Jason. While Jason was known for his loyalty, honor, and resilience, those same traits made him a threat, an immovable object standing between Brennan and Carly. And Brennan had no patience for obstacles. It wasn't long ago that Brennan revealed the lengths he was willing to go to in order to protect his interests. His near execution of Valentine, once a supposed ally, served as a chilling example. In Brennan's world, loyalty was conditional, and sentimentality had no place. Valentine had crossed him. And Brennan had come dangerously close to ending his life without hesitation. If someone like Valentine, with a shared history, could be considered expendable, then Jason. A man who openly despised him and threatened his budding relationship with Carly, was an even more obvious target. Brennan's mind was already calculating, adapting. Considering every move as though playing a game of chess where only one player was truly aware of the stakes. The moment Carly spoke Jason's name in warning, she unknowingly shifted the board. Brennan now had justification, motive, and perhaps most dangerously, emotional investment. Jason was no longer just a nuisance, he was a liability, and liabilities in Brennan's world didn't last long. What Carly believed was an act of loyalty to Jason may soon become the very thing that puts him in harm's way. And Brennan, with his hidden darkness and deadly precision, may already be designing a plan to erase the threat, one that would leave no suspicion and no fingerprints. For Brennan, the question wasn't whether Jason should be eliminated. It was how, and how soon. Carly believed she had done the right thing by warning Brennan about Jason's threat. In her mind, she was protecting both men, providing Brennan with the truth in hopes of diffusing potential tension and making clear that Jason's words came from a place of fierce loyalty, not vengeance. But what she failed to realize was that in doing so, she unknowingly unlocked a dangerous sequence of events that could no longer be controlled. Her well-intentioned warning, rather than serving as a deterrent, became the catalyst for something far darker, an invisible chain reaction now unfolding beneath the surface. Brennan was not a man who tolerated threats, not in his business dealings, not in his personal life, and certainly not from someone like Jason, whose reputation was built on intimidation, loyalty, and brute resolve. For Brennan, Jason's interference went beyond mere disapproval, it was an intrusion into a part of his life he had begun to regard as personal and sacred. Carly had become more than a passing infatuation, she was a fixation, and that made any threat against their connection unforgivable. With quiet calculation, Brennan began to shift his mindset. This wasn't just about protecting a relationship, it was about removing an obstacle. In the shadows of his mind, Brennan began laying the groundwork. He wouldn't act in rage or recklessness, he would act with precision. Silent. Ruthless. Untraceable. To the outside world, if anything were to happen to Jason, it would seem like the inevitable outcome of the dangerous life he had always led. A hit from an unknown crime syndicate. A long-standing grudge rearing its head, Brennan knew how to manufacture the perfect illusion. Every detail would be managed, every trace carefully erased. By the time anyone began to suspect foul play, the truth would already be buried beneath layers of misdirection. Meanwhile, Jason remained unwavering in his conviction. He had every reason to be concerned, and his instincts, honed over years of navigating the treacherous underworld, were screaming that something wasn't right. He saw through Brennan's polished facade. Sensed the cold calculation behind his charming exterior. But what disturbed Jason most wasn't Brennan's hidden darkness, it was the way Brennan looked at Carly. There was something in his gaze that sent a chill through Jason's spine, a possessiveness masked as affection, a hunger disguised as passion. To Jason, it was a warning sign. A red flag that demanded action. He knew Carly was vulnerable, still reeling from past losses, clinging to a sense of control wherever she could find it. Brennan represented something new. Something intoxicating. But Jason saw what she didn't, that underneath the allure was a predator with his sights set firmly on her. And Jason had never been one to sit back while someone he loved was in danger. He would face Brennan head-on, if he had to, regardless of the cost. But he didn't yet realize that Brennan was already preparing the battlefield, positioning every piece with surgical precision for a confrontation that might not end with mere threats. What began as a warning has now evolved into a war silently brewing between two powerful forces, each driven by their own version of loyalty and protection. Carly, unknowingly caught in the middle, may soon discover that her attempt to safeguard those she cares about has instead turned her into the spark that ignited a deadly fire. And when that fire erupts, the question won't be who's right or wrong, but who survives. As the shadows of Brennan's past slowly begin to unravel, Jason will not remain idle. The man who had spent his life navigating the darkest corners of Port Charles, who had built a reputation on loyalty, survival, and silent resolve, knows when danger is real, and this time, it's personal. The unsettling truths surrounding Brennan, long buried beneath layers of charm and manipulation, are starting to emerge like cracks in a carefully constructed mask. And Jason, ever vigilant, is prepared to expose every last one of them. Jason has spent years cultivating networks, alliances, and instincts sharpened by countless battles. Now, all of those resources will be put to use. He begins pulling strings, contacting former allies, and quietly assembling pieces of Brennan's past like a puzzle with jagged edges. Every lead, every whisper, every thread of corruption that points back to Brennan becomes ammunition in Jason's mission, not just to protect Carly, but to eliminate the growing threat she refuses to see. He is determined to unmask the man who has slithered his way into Carly's life, a man who hides malevolence beneath tailored suits and practiced smiles. But what Jason doesn't know is that Brennan has already anticipated this move. He has been playing the long game, carefully watching Jason's every step, analyzing his behavior, and studying his patterns. Brennan knows Jason is not one to give up easily, and so he has planned accordingly. Every possible scenario has been accounted for, every potential betrayal prepared for. Brennan isn't simply reacting, he's controlling the board, orchestrating events from behind the curtain with the precision of a master strategist. In Brennan's eyes, Jason is a predictable player, noble, but bound by emotion. Brennan views this as a weakness, a flaw he can exploit. And so, while Jason begins his investigation, believing he's peeling back layers of truth, he may in fact be walking into a carefully laid trap. Brennan has already planted diversions, manipulated sources, and constructed a smokescreen that will lead Jason exactly where he wants him to go. The moment Jason thinks he's gaining ground, Brennan will strike, quietly, methodically, and with devastating precision. What began as a romantic rivalry has now escalated into a full-blown war of minds, wills, and agendas. It is no longer simply about who wins Carly's heart, it's about control, survival, and the exposure of a truth that could shatter more than just one life. This is a high-stakes game where trust is fragile, and every move could be the last. Jason is fighting for Carly's safety, for the truth she can't yet see. While Brennan is fighting to maintain the illusion that protects his darker ambitions. In this battle, words are weapons, and silence can be fatal. Jason may believe he holds the moral high ground. But Brennan has no intention of playing by rules. As the web tightens, as alliances shift and secrets collide, the fate of not only Carly but everyone caught in this unfolding storm will hang in the balance. This isn't just a love triangle, it's a war for the soul of a woman, the control of a narrative, and the right to shape the future. And in this war, the winner won't be the one who loves the most. It will be the one who plays the game best. Sooner rather than later. Carly will be forced to confront a painful truth. She is caught in the middle of a deadly tug-of-war between two men, each of whom genuinely believes he is protecting her. Jason, with his quiet strength and unwavering loyalty, has always been her rock, the man who would sacrifice anything to keep her safe. Brennan, on the other hand, offers something different, an allure cloaked in sophistication, danger wrapped in desire. He is the embodiment of everything thrilling and unpredictable, and to Carly, that's intoxicating. But what she doesn't yet realize is that beneath that polished charm lies something far more sinister, something Jason has sensed from the very beginning. As the walls begin to close in and Brennan's secrets start to emerge, Carly will begin to feel the pressure of the invisible war being waged around her. The warmth she once felt in Brennan's presence will begin to chill, the smile that once drew her in will start to feel rehearsed. Her instincts, long dulled by the trauma and exhaustion of years in Port Charles, will slowly begin to awaken. And in the silence between moments, she will begin to wonder, has she been wrong all along? The possibility that Brennan could go so far as to stage an accident, or worse, orchestrate an assassination disguised as a random act of violence, will linger like a shadow she cannot escape. Carly has seen the dark side of people before, but this would be a betrayal of the deepest kind. If Brennan is truly capable of eliminating Jason to secure his place in her life, then the very foundation of her judgment, her ability to see through the lies of those around her, will be shaken to its core. She will question everything, every touch, every whisper, every promise he ever made. But what if she doesn't see it in time? What if the plan is already in motion, and Jason, her fiercest protector, is blindsided before she can stop it? If Brennan succeeds in harming Jason, even if he does so from the shadows, cloaked in plausible deniability, it could ignite a storm that no one will be able to contain. Jason may be many things, loyal, guarded, ruthless when necessary, but betrayal, especially at the hands of someone he loves, could harden him in ways even he doesn't expect. If Carly becomes the unknowing pawn in Brennan's plot, and Jason is injured or worse because of it, something inside him may break. The man who has always fought for justice might no longer care about restraint. He may shed the last remnants of mercy, becoming singularly focused on vengeance. The quiet man with the moral code may disappear, replaced by a colder, deadlier force, one who will stop at nothing to make those responsible pay, starting with Brennan. Carly, devastated and guilt-ridden, would have to live with the knowledge that her decisions, not her love, not her loyalty, but her choices, led Jason into the lion's den. Her once clear understanding of right and wrong will become muddied, blurred by grief and the unbearable weight of what might have been prevented. She may find herself haunted by a question she can never escape: did she fall for the wrong man? And if so, at what cost? This is more than a romantic conflict. It is a collision of two worlds, one forged in loyalty and sacrifice, the other in secrets and manipulation. Carly stands at the center, but soon she may realize that being loved by both men does not protect her, it endangers her. And when the truth finally comes to light, it may already be too late to save the man who never stopped fighting for her. The confrontation between Jason and Brennan has only just begun, but already a sinister undercurrent is forming, one that threatens to grow into a full-blown storm with consequences no one can fully predict. What appears on the surface to be a personal rivalry between two men with competing interests is, in truth, the beginning of something far more dangerous, a web of manipulation, betrayal, and ambition that is steadily tightening around everyone involved. Behind every glance, every decision, every word unspoken, lies the weight of something much darker, an agenda that goes beyond love, beyond jealousy, and strikes at the very heart of trust and control. Brennan is not simply vying for Carly's affection. His motivations run deeper, more calculated, more treacherous. His interest in her is not merely romantic, it is strategic. By drawing her in, by isolating her from the people who have protected her for so long, he weakens the foundation of resistance around her. Jason knows this, though he may not yet see the full extent of Brennan's long game. What Jason sees is the pattern, familiar signs of coercion masked as affection, control disguised as care. And Jason, the man whose life has been shaped by loyalty and instinct, is not about to let that go unchallenged. But the problem is, this is no ordinary fight. In the world of General Hospital, where alliances shift with the wind and past sins never stay buried, nothing is ever simple. As Jason and Brennan begin to circle each other like predators in the dark, they unwittingly awaken forces that have long laid dormant, old rivalries, silent grudges, and powerful players waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The conflict between them becomes a spark. And the spark threatens to ignite everything around them. This time, it isn't just about Carly. This is a power play unfolding on a much larger scale. Brennan's reach, as it turns out, may extend far beyond what anyone in Port Charles has imagined. His ties to the underworld, his knowledge of backdoor deals and hidden enemies, make him a far more formidable opponent than anyone has dared to admit. He knows how to move pieces in the dark, how to set traps that don't reveal themselves until it's too late. And Jason, though skilled and experienced, may find himself tangled in a game that's being played on terms he didn't choose. Meanwhile, Carly finds herself standing at the center of it all, unknowingly becoming the catalyst for the very war she hoped to avoid. Her choices, her divided loyalties, her desire to believe the best in people, all of it will be weaponized. And as the pressure builds, she may discover that trusting the wrong person doesn't just break hearts, it breaks lives. In a world as treacherous as that of General Hospital, love is rarely pure. And betrayal is never far behind. Power is the true currency, and those who dare to seek it must be willing to sacrifice more than they ever imagined. The line between hero and villain, protector and predator, becomes increasingly blurred. Jason and Brennan may believe they are acting for love, for justice, for protection, but in this war, intentions are irrelevant. Only the outcome matters. And in the end, no one will emerge unscathed. Because in Port Charles, where darkness bleeds into daylight and secrets are more dangerous than bullets, there are no innocent bystanders, only survivors.